Excited, we got Dr. Aaron Chapa in studio. It's a Tuesday, and Dr. Chapa comes in and shares a message of health and wellness every Tuesday, and I'm excited for this one especially. I'm going to share this onto our social media. If you're watching, go ahead and share this out. Feel free to ask questions. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. My name is Gardy. I have a guest, Dr. Aaron Chapa with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center here in studio, where we're going to be talking about health and nutrition without the use of drugs and surgery. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. I know the Summer Detox Games, the Living Well Games, started officially yesterday. It's not too late to start. It's a 10-day event. Dr. Chapa, how are you doing today?
Gardy, I'm doing fantastic. And, man, you took the words right out of my mouth. You don't have to be upset that yesterday was the start date. We just obviously have to have an arbitrary start date. This is the Summer Detox Games. We just had a lot of ideas to try to create fun around detoxification because we're still finding people don't understand detoxification. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we always strive to give the best and most up-to-date health information available and make it something applicable to your life. We don't want it to be something that you do one time and never do again. We believe wholeheartedly that if you're not integrating detoxification into your current 21st century healthcare plan, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare. And we want to make sure products, the sediments, the toxins that your body cannot use or needs to get rid of out the appropriate channels. People just don't realize that their body should be able to handle all those factors without help. But we live in a different world. We don't live in a world that is, loaded with good nutrition and low toxic issues. We are inundated with stress. We're inundated with every rhyme and reason not to choose health, and we're enticed through our lovely taste buds to indulge in substrates that are questionable at best if they would actually give us any value to upregulate a cell or to cleanse a tissue or to synergize an organ system so that your body can perform at a vibrant level, not just today, Gardy, but all the days of your life. It's great that you feel great today. How are you going to feel 15 years from now? Are you just leaning on your genetic code to, I'm just going to let life happen to me? Well, I'm going to tell you, most of the time when people let life happen to them, they find themselves stuck in a case of the suddenlies overnight, and they wonder what happened. You can't expect what you don't inspect. You've got to get in there and you got to look at your body and appreciate that it needs some tender, loving care. Isn't that nice? Who doesn't need a little TLC in their life? Whether it's a massage, whether it's just sleeping in, whether it's a vacation. We've been hoodwinked to believe that we've got to stay go time all the time and never let up. And what happens is, one of my mentors always said is, Aaron, you can't work in your practice and on your practice at the same time. You've got to be, when it comes to your body, you obviously you're always in the game because your heart's ticking, your brain's working, but you've got to be inspecting organ systems in your body. You got to be inspecting under care of a clinical nutritionist, and at our office we've got great ones. Myself, Molly, Jennifer, Dr. Amber, we're all there helping you see from an unemotional attachment. You're emotionally attached to yourself, so you can't always tell that you've got challenges and issues. You just know that something, I don't know, maybe doesn't feel right.
Or maybe you think it's normal. You've been dealing with it for such a long time that you realize it's not normal to wake up or to feel that way or to have those aches and pains.
And I think that the world, Western medicine, has convinced us that, hey, if you're getting older, expect it. And there's some reality of age does play a factor in how quickly you can recover and the gains that you can get in, say, training or in the gym. I got it, fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, when it comes right down to it, if the dude don't move,
then the dude don't groove.
The dude don't groove. So we've got to help people realize that, man, I don't care if you're 42 or 52 or 82 or 22, wherever you're at, enjoy that season. The great Jim Rohn always would say, you can't order the seasons. You can't ask for 2 springs and 2 summers.
It'd be nice.
It would be great. But the seasons of life you got to take it as they come.
And appreciate the time you're in.
And you got to appreciate the time that you're in and the rules that apply to that season. You know, you can't curse the rain, the sunshine, the soil. You've got to appreciate that you've got to be intentional in how to leverage the sun, the rain, the soil in order to make and maximize the best version of yourself today, tomorrow, and on down the line. And so every time you choose health in a day, every time you choose disease in a day, those cumulative factors can add up for you on the side of winning the longevity vitality curve, that vim, vigor, and vip that we all want and desire, having energy, mental clarity, having the sunshine that percolates through your cells and into people's lives of influence, so that you can be a blessing to all those around you, that you can be an influencer, somebody that actually takes and helps others change their step. Isn't that a good call?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people, this guy was talking on this podcast that I was listening to this morning, and they're asking young people, you know, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be famous. Well, fame is not the same as being an influencer. You know, he said that fame is just being known. You just want to be known as, I'm over here dancing like a puppet, doing whatever it is I'm doing, right? Look at me, look at me. An influencer wants to help somebody make 1 degree or 2 degrees or 15 degrees of change. Does that make sense?
It does.
And so make sure that you understand the definitions for which your quest and seeking out to find for yourself and for others to integrate appropriately. And I think the health of your body, they have done studies on this, by the way, where the healthier you are in your body, the more fit you are in your body, the more fit you are in your mind, the more fit you are in your spirit, the more productive you will be in life, the more successful you'll be financially, maritally, you know, in raising up and rearing your children, in becoming a better version of yourself. Just like what we've been talking about the last 3 weeks, competing against yesterday's self. You know, as long as you're better today than you were yesterday, even if that means slowing down in some areas. Oh, I'm preaching to myself. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe it's okay that we rest from time to time. Maybe it's okay that we accept that there is a bit of humanness, that and rest is a good supplement as drinking water or taking vitamins and minerals or eating a healthy meal or throwing the ball with the kid. You know, what is it that you want your life to look like tomorrow? What do you want it to look like today? And if you're not where you want to be, or if you're struggling with symptom patterns, and that could be headaches, that could be rashes, that could be weird things. I mean, I had a guy tell me that his head was on fire. Literally, that was his complaint. Rashes all throughout his body and down and out for 2 weeks. And he asked me if I've ever seen that before. No, I can't say that I have seen somebody's head on fire. But when you come in with an ice pack on your head, I believe you. I mean, normal people don't walk around with ice packs on their head unless they
got something going on.
They got, a goose egg of sorts, right? But with no symptoms at all, other than my body crashed and burned, and now my insides feel like they're inflamed and on fire and swollen, I go, what could that be? I'm thinking. I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Get on the table. Let's start working. And we start working. So if you are dealing with stuff and you haven't been evaluated, man, you're out there on your own, emotionally attached to yourself, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall into the pitfalls of disease. And that's what Living Well Clinical Nutrition is here for. We are to give you guidance. We are to help to be a light in your quest to a better version of yourself. And we do that through non-drug, non-surgical intervention. We want to use vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids in order to make and maximize those replenishment cycles happen for you, your recovery cycles to be as fast as genetically possible. We want to maximize the way your body performs in life, and that happens through nourishment. We want to teach you the difference between good proteins, good carbs, bad fats, good fats, because people are confused on what real food is. We want people to understand that sometimes you need even more support. I had a guy come in that was recently, stricken with the case of the suddenlies after he got his COVID shot. And he was down and out for 2.5 weeks, hospitalized, lost almost 40 pounds. This guy's in his late 40s. He's not like an old dude or, again, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, you just can't blame it all. Well, he was old, If you go back and he gives me a call and we get him on the table and we start working on him and we realize, oh, this guy's got a history. His history is he is a slow detoxer. His methylation pathways are sluggish. His liver detoxification pathways aren't efficient. His bowels have been constipated his whole life. He's okay pooping 4 or 5 times a week. No, like 2 to 3 times a day, Gardy. That's normal. Just because it's not normal to you doesn't mean that's right. You know what I mean? You can practice incorrectly day in and day out and find yourself no better than you think you ought to be, and find yourself even injured or down and out or not even performing anymore. And so you have to make sure you understand that the rule is, and then play by those rules. And so this guy had a history of bowel constipation, which led to liver sluggishness. And then when the straw broke the camel's back, I mean, it could have been the flu, it could have been COVID, it could have been an antibiotic, it could have been anything. It could have been a surgery, it could have been a catastrophe, it could have been a tragedy that sparked his system into that turmoil or downspin. And we had to pull him up by his bootstraps. And he's upset that he's got to do all this work now. Well, hey, the gene code was doing the best it could, managing things on its own all along without your involvement, but now it needs your attention. The case of the suddenlies popped you in the nose. Mm-hmm. And that's a frustrating place for people because they typically don't understand why I've been eating milk products for the last 45 years, and now you're telling me I'm allergic to it? Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. And I'm sorry that I'm the bearer of bad news, but here's the reality. It's okay. I mean, you're going to survive. And we're going to find an alternative. We're going to find out how to make life fun again. And detoxification is one of those fast-track paths in order to get people back on to a healthy trend and a healthy pattern. So if you're dealing with headaches, or if you're dealing with hormone problems, if you've got joint pain, if you've got heart issues, or if you've got allergies galore, or if you're struggling to sleep at night and you find yourself not where you think you ought to be, consider the Living Well Detox Games. This is what we're doing this summer is we've got people doing 10-day programs. The Craving Kickers are off to the races. They're already out there, making their little stance. We have a competition between the Craving Kickers, the Too Busy to Detox folks, the Ultimate Detoxers, and the Inflammation Nation team, trying to create camaraderie inside their tribe, and all competing on social media right now to have a chance to win some free stuff at our office. So make sure that you get the information that you need. Call our office at 281-554-8600 and let us help you figure out which team you want to be on or need to be on. And when last night we had a great seminar, and it was just awesome to watch Jennifer talk through all the different types of the programs that we're kicking off right now. And it doesn't matter if people started yesterday or last week or tomorrow. Like, we want to see people having fun through the detox games, because we believe that if you're detoxing 42 days a year, you're doing it the bare minimum of overhauling and intentionally cleansing your tissues. And I wanted to talk about a gentleman that he decided 8 months ago he was going to do 10 days a month. And he's stuck to it. I've been really proud of him. Even when he travels a lot. So even when he's traveling, he's built this around his travel schedule. He'll come home from a travel schedule, boom, jump in a 10-day. He'll either do the Craving Kicker program, or he'll do the Inflammation Nation program, or he'll do the Too Busy to Detox program. But they're 10-day regiments, 10-day blast. And he has literally found a groove in saying, I can focus hard on being intentional with cleaning my liver, cleaning my kidneys, cleaning my bowels, overhauling my lymphatics and allowing food to nourish me and the supplements to change my chemistry so that I can feel good. And then what I noticed day 11 through 30 or 31, depending on the month, he goes, I feel like I'm making better choices than I would have made had I not done that intentional 10-day. That works for him. So what is it? How is it working for you? So that means this guy's doing like 80 days. He's up to 80 days this year of detox. You know what I mean? That's awesome. And I'm really proud of him. And so that's what his plan looks like. I had a lady yesterday goes, man, I'm just the ultimate detoxers. I'm proud of them, but I just can't go 21 days. That's just too intimidating for me. And I was so excited when I saw you had a shorter protocol. And I think I'm going to do the craving kickers because I crave everything. I want chocolate. I want alcohol. I want sugar. I want candy. I want, she goes, anything that is obviously bad for me, I crave it and I want it. And I'm like, I said, all right, isn't that a good place to know? At least you can recognize it.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness is you got to know where you're at. So the fact that she was even willing to acknowledge it. Yes, let me stand up and say, yes, my name is Dr. Aaron Chapa, and I am an addict. I love detoxification.
You love detoxing.
And then people go, yeah, he never retoxes. He just detoxes, And so we're always, we all have our place. And then I had this, I just watched the people and showed up last night and that were on the Zoom call. I mean, they were just coming in by the groves, and it was just really exciting because people are coming aware. Like I feel like Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we have steadily, consistently made a push to help people understand that 42 days a year of detoxification is absolutely critical. It's necessary. It's not an option. It is a vital piece of your nutritional healthcare plan in the 21st century to live well, be well, stay well, to perform well. We want you to do these things so that you can play well, that you can rest well, and that you can find your calling and you can find your groove. Your gear. How are you going to maximize today and become the influencer that God's called you to be?
We talk about seasons in life, and you've asked me before, how old do you want to be? And I was like, I don't know if I want to be that old. We've talked about this on air, and you're like, that's because you picture, someone old not being able to get around, forgetting things with dementia. And these detoxes, is that a tool to, prevent that season, to have that season look different?
Wait, so ask me the question again.
So, you've asked me, how do you want your life to look when you built it, and going through seasons of life, Gardy, how old do you want to be? I don't know. It's like, do you want to live to be 100? I don't know. That seems like it's really old. And then you told me that's because when I think of that, I don't picture myself being able to get around, move around. And that's true because I look at myself like, what am I going to be able to do? Am I going to be able to drive to the store? Am I going to be able to...
Or be in diapers?
Yeah.
There's all these terrible stories, right?
Right.
And the reality is if you go and you had the chance to talk to those people, you'll probably find that those people were, I hate to say, negligent. Like there is a price to pay for ignorance. There's a price to pay for straight up not doing what you know you need to be doing. And as much as I wish it wasn't like that, you know what I mean? I also have to look in the reality mirror and say, you've got to put adult time frames and adult expectations and be willing to inspect your life. Like I like doing introspection. I like asking myself hard questions. My hardest question that I probably ask myself is, Aaron, what is it that you want? And I hate the question because I struggle with it often. I don't know if it's because what I want changes. I don't know if sometimes because what I've gotten, and I realize I didn't really weigh the cost. You know what I mean? There's always that place, and so life is always that that we're pushing toward the end goal. But as long as, number one, you see that it is possible to live better than to be decrepit in diapers, broken down, not being able to take care of yourself. And that happens and starts right now. The better you take care of yourself today, the better your chances of living out tomorrow, or as an old, gentleman. I won't call an old geezer, but if you want to live well and be well, then give yourself a chance by starting today. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because if you just roll the dice, it's a crapshoot, and most of the time the house wins, meaning you lose. If you want to be intentional, then integrating just the simple concept of detoxification that we teach and preach and work people through all day, every day. I mean, people don't do it twice a year. I mean, I have people doing programs, detox programs, all throughout the year. Just the minimum goal is 42 days a year. And so we are building clinical nutrition programs for people to meet people at their needs wherever they're at. I got some people that are so sick they can't even do a detox. This is too aggressive. And these aren't even aggressive. I really feel like anybody could do these. But I have some people that are so messed up, these are too aggressive. And so we have to be mindful. And I just think that, you know, if you have the mindset like of being a performer whenever you're old and at the end of your lifespan, and you don't let age stop you. You just keep performing. You keep living. I had a lady come in yesterday. She's 76, I think. And, you know, she's like, I can't go out in the sun. I mean, people will see my wrinkles, you know. Well, God bless her. But, I mean, I hope that I don't care as much about what I look like, especially if it stops me from being my best. You know, you still got to put yourself out there every day. You still got to risk it all every day. You still got to, you know, go for the gusto every day. And I think that place of when you have a very strong self-image and you have done all this work and you keep putting yourself out of your comfort zone, you squash comfortability. Like that, we ought to look at all the things that we're comfortable with in life, whether it's your job, whether it's your, you know, family habits, whether it's the foods that y'all are eating, whether it's the nighttime rituals, those comfortability things. Man, maybe we should throw comfortability to the wayside and we start doing things that stress us a little bit, challenge us a little bit, and create that hormetic response of growth. So hormesis is the healthy stress that drives growth, that drives a healthy evolution of new learning. You know, I was listening in my head, of all places, to a speaker that speaks into my mind. I love him, Jim Rohn. God, here he is again. And he says, you know, he can skip a meal, but never miss your 30 minutes of listening time or reading time so that you're sharpening your mind, because you don't want to develop rickets of the mind. Rickets is a bone disorder, brittle bone disease, and it is not an elderly disorder. It's actually a childhood disorder, and you don't want to have a brittle brain. You don't want to have a mind that's not sharp and that is pliable, what the neurologists call plastic, you know, where it develops and turns over very quickly, and that there's a lot of electrical activity, a lot of heat generation, because the brain is so, you know, involved in everything that we're doing. And if we don't stimulate it, if we don't challenge it, then we can't expect much from it. And I think that's why people, on average, only use 10% of their brain. You know, and how sad is that? Then we're so full of toxins. Toxins come from all sorts of places in our lives. They come from our food. They come from our water. They come from bad oils. They come from, I mean, anytime you eat out to eat, you almost guaranteed you're getting exposed to one of the 4 deadly food additives, whether it's MSG, partially hydrogenated oil, artificial sugars, high fructose corn syrup. We might as well throw the 5th one in there that could be sugar. You know, if sugar was introduced into our society today, it'd be a controlled substance. Gardy, did you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
A controlled substance? Sugar? It's that bad? Yeah. It's that bad because it's been chemically adulterated and mutated. I mean, it's not even in the food category because it's a chemical. You know, I used to have this patient. She would give. Do you remember in the 80s and 90s we had these little things called, you know, picture film, and it would be stored in this little plastic black container with a gray top, and she would fill that up full of candy, and that was her kid's daily allowance. She literally controlled substanced back in the 90s her kid's intake of garbage, and people go, "That's abusive." We had a lady that was challenged at her church, was told that how bad of a parent she was because she wouldn't let her kids eat the snacks that the church provided. Well, I mean, and you've heard me say it, it's one of my biggest pet peeves. You know, we give out garbage to our kids at church, and yet we want them to sit still in church and get fed spiritually and be mature spiritually. Well, and that's an oxymoron. I mean, you can't feed rocket fuel into the cells of the body and expect a person to just sit still when these things are driving bonkers every neurological ping pong experience in your brain, where kids over here, then they're over here, and then over here, and they're over here, and they're under your seat, and as the parent, now you're frustrated and you're embarrassed and da 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 da. You know what I mean? It's like we've got to take and we've got to apply realistic adult time frames and adult expectations for how to live well, be well, and you don't want blood sugar to rise at an astronomical rocket speed. We want it to elevate gently and then come back down and sustain and then go back up at the next meal. We want sustainability. We want to make sure that we're not overstimulating our bodies day in and day out. And these toxins, they will literally rob you of minerals. They will rob you of healthy hormones. They will rob you of having the ability to detox effectively because of accumulation. Bioaccumulation over time of these toxic particulates will literally settle in your brain. They'll settle in your fat cells. They'll settle in your joints. And then you have rickets of the mind, or you're overweight 25 pounds, or you have arthritis, or what I like to call arthrongus, because there's nothing rightous about it.
Right.
You know, and I want people to grasp hold of that. You don't have to suffer with symptom patterns whenever we have programs, nutrition programs, and encouragement programs, and the campfire, if you will, of people going through the programs with you to see. I had a lady last night at the event. She goes, "It was so nice to come here and to see the excitement of everybody in the room, that people knew each other, that people were picking on each other. It was like a fun place to be. I wanted to be a part of that."
Didn't Molly say y'all are one level below CrossFitters?
Yes.
As far as like the tribe and the camaraderie and everything?
Yes. I would say, I don't even know if...
it's one level below?
Yeah, it might even be above. I mean, we're crazy fanatics. You got to a little bit be a foodie. You've got to a little bit start to be okay with the fact that you don't know what you don't know about food, that you don't know what you don't know about the value of vitamins, minerals, and essential fatty acids. I mean, I talk to medical doctors often, and I just am shocked that they don't know what I know. Now, I don't know what they know, and I'm not going to ever, say what they know is not right, because there's a time and a place, and I hope I never have to use it. But here's the reality, is no one can argue that food is medicine. No one can argue that you have to take a breath or bad things will happen. Oxygen is important. Food is vitally important. Water is vitally important. So when doctors tell me that they can't, I can't give beets to my patients, or they can't take buckwheat, or they can't take, rutin, some of these, vitamin C complexes, they can't take some of these fundamental food-based protocols that I build, I look at my patients and I said, did they tell you can't have Brussels sprouts? You tell me that Brussels sprouts are bad for you, broccoli's bad for you? Well, they're afraid of the, that one's got like some sort of animal product in it. Okay. And so liver is bad for you? In the olden days, we would actually eat animal parts. People don't have the taste buds to tolerate that, or the nostrils to smell, a kidney burning on the grill. Have you ever smelled a kidney burning on the grill, by the way?
I have never.
I'm sorry to take this quick aside, but I remember, this is when I was living in Humble. This was many, many long moons ago. And this gal gave me at a what do you call those, farmers markets, a kidney to try. And I'm like,
it was cooked, grilled, or
no,
what?
No. She raw. She gave it to me, and she goes, "You got to go home and cook it."
Okay.
And
I was like, wait, did you eat it raw at the farmer's market?
No.
What's going on?
I'm crazy, but that would be extreme.
What kind of CrossFit stuff is going on in here?
As everybody jumps off the line. No, don't cut. Yeah, no. You can go ahead and stay subscribed. It's okay. We're not gonna make you eat raw animal meats. But I mean, I remember on the grill telling my wife this was a good idea. And I'm cooking it, and I'm in the backyard, and it smells just like you would think a kidney would smell, like burnt urine.
Yeah, not good. I was gonna say not good.
I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, what am I about to eat? I don't know if I can eat this. I remember dissecting one of these in school. I've seen the histology slides on these things, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, it smells funky.
Disgusting. It smells disgusting.
And I remember I said, I set it on Tiff's plate, and I had my little piece, and she looks at me. She goes, "I ain't eating that." And I ate mine, and I was like, every bite was just absolutely hideous. And but
it's like a medicinal thing, like a health thing.
Yeah. And so I said to myself, I'm so thankful that I found companies that will help me put organ meats in a tablet or a capsule that I can just swallow very quickly, and I don't have to actually eat, chew,
or cook. Smell.
None of that. I don't have to do any of that. And I can just throw it down the hatch, and I can get the benefit of assisting my liver, kidneys, and organ systems to perform. And it just comes down to, the organ meats are not poisonous. They are healthy, vital. They are necessary. And food-based programs that we build for people is what people really need, not the pharmacologic overload that we see.
Yeah, so Molly was saying, she's not going to lie, the liver, it smells like pee. And I'm just wondering if there are some people out there that are feeling shamed because they're like, man, I actually kind of like the
If I shamed you, I'm so sorry. Maybe you need to come help me cook because I haven't figured out how to cook those. And
it's
man,
hilarious.
You botched one of those really bad one time. I normally say you have to try something at least 3 times, but I can't say that I tried
that one?
Kidney over again that last time. I remember very specifically what grill. I even know what kind of grill it was. I mean,
it stuck with you.
I mean, it stuck with me. It was very impactful of a sidestep not to do again.
So what other organ meats have you tried, or maybe some to start with? I guess if you're going to get into that,
liver, tongue, are ones that people are known to make. I mean, you've had tongue before, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you like tongue.
I like menudo.
Yeah,
I like.
And that isn't menudo technically intestine?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is the thing: is like how are we okay cooking it? Some of these organ products, but we're not okay when we see liver or adrenal gland or thyroid on a label.
I think part of it is you don't know because there's some things that you tried as a kid and the way it's prepared and maybe not the healthiest way, but you just have it. And then you realize later in life, wait, what actually is in here?
Well, and I think with the products that we use that have bovine or products in it, it's the mineral template of the organ. It's not like you've got raw adrenal gland grind up inside of it and it can potentially rot on you and you're eating something that has an expiration date like that. It's not that. I remember early in practice where I was questioned in my probably my 5th seminar I ever taught, and man, this lady ate my lunch. Man, she just had every question I did not have an answer to, and she beat me up. I mean, no doubt about it. But I was thankful that I didn't wait to learn. And I'm thankful that I got out in my car and I made a phone call and I said, "Here's the 5 questions." Yeah. And she tore me to shreds and embarrassed me and my wife in front of 20 people, And I learned that it's not rotten animal meat that's in my supplements, that it's the template, it's the mineral base that helps an adrenal gland, your stress management system turn on, or your liver maximize efficiency. I mean, I've always said that there's over 600 pathways that the liver's responsible for. I would say, my personal opinion is every pathway in the body goes through the liver at some point. And then Dr. Dan Murphy, one of my, neurological research gurus of the country. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. You listen to this guy speak and you just get fired up to hear how much he reads and studies, and you can appreciate his knowledge base and what he does to give information to people. He says there's over 1,500 known pathways that the liver's involved with. So it's no longer is it 600, it's 1,500 that we know about. So it means we don't even really appreciate how many pathways there are in the body. And that's why health can be complicated in one respect, trying to understand it all. Okay? But we can then simplify it by feeding the body, nourishing the body vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acid, glandular extracts, glandular tissues to turn on the tissues to perform like God created them, and appreciate the simplicity that you just need to add a little liver to your life. You need to add an adrenal to your life. That way you can maximize your stress pathway and maximize your detoxification pathway, or menudo, and maximize your digestive pathway, and like treats like. Your body goes, oh, I've seen that before. I know exactly where to stick that puzzle piece. And then your body does its work because you're providing the nutrition. There's 20 amino acids from proteins that you have to consume. If you don't ingest it, they don't get in. You know, that's scary a little bit, because what if you're not getting those? And we've got to help you see. Well, the same goes with making sure that you're putting in the right fats in the right ratio, not the conglomeration of all this bound up garbage fat that sticks to your insides and clogs your arteries and veins and bile ducts and liver ducts. And we've got to overhaul and be okay that, you know, just same way you change your air filter in your house, the same way you rotate your tires, or you change your oil, or you do these maintenance things. Because, I mean, anybody, raise your hand if you've got a house, you know the work never stops. There's always something breaking. There's always something that malfunctions. There's always something that needs a little tune-up or repair or paint or something. And sooner or later, if you don't get a handle on those things, guess what happens? You're so inundated with to-dos that you'll never get caught up. You can't afford to catch up. You don't have the time to catch up. And so that's what we call the case of the suddenlies, when everything starts to cave in and you feel like the money pit, where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm spending all this money on my health and I can't get better. Well, buddy, you didn't do anything for your health for 50 years. You know, like they always say you pay an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So like you pay now or you pay later, but you will pay. And in the beginning, you always pay less. And so I think if we just do that little bit of pruning, maintenancing, and tonifying, and we push the system towards the evolution of growth and development, as opposed to allowing life just to take us down a magical road at adventure that you may or may not like. You know, I'd rather be a little bit in control what I can, and then trust God with the rest, because ultimately God knows your expiration date. God put us all has an expiration date, but it's up to you what you do with the time that you've been allotted. So I'm okay if I don't make it to 125. Like, I'm not, going to curse God for not letting me maximize 125 because I've been telling everybody I'm going to live to be 125, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body.
Maybe he has 130.
That's right. What if it's more?
Yeah.
And I shortchanged him, right? You know, and so I think that it's the joy of walking by faith, the joy of trusting the simplicity that God gave us simple things to shame the wise. We don't have to understand all the inner workings of your physiology to know that your liver needs some love. You don't have to know the 1,600 pathways. You don't have to know every B vitamin that we haven't discovered yet before you start. Have faith and trust. Take a step. That milk thistle has been well documented to serve your liver as a liver protective agent. That beets are one of the liver's most valuable superfoods. That celery is one of your kidney's favorite drainage remedies. That ginger is fantastic for your heart and cardiovascular system and melting away of plaque off the walls of your arteries. That you can do B vitamin work to turn on your mitochondria and maximize heart function and tonify circulation pathways. That your lymphatics, if you experience swelling in your lower extremities, or if you have rashes that are like kind of diffuse and all over the skin, that's probably your lymphatics cramming trash through your skin, and we need to flush those. Like, those are all those aging spots that you can pay attention to that bring you into an office like Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, where we can help you see and understand your body's tales, because your body's always communicating, just very few people listen. And most people in the Western medicine culture believe that you won't make the change. I want you to believe that you can make a change. 1 degree is all we need. One little baby step. The difference between the winners and the losers, Gardy, is what?
Is one step.
One more step. if you're willing to take one step towards better health, if you're willing to take one step towards a better, brighter tomorrow, if you're willing to take one step away from where you're at right now to where you want to be, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center can help you take that step and make sure that that step is on a solid foundation of health, wellness, and vitality, so that your longevity curve, your vitality curve are more on a trajectory to hit the mark of long, vital years on this planet, and impact for people, and productivity for your day-to-day, creativity that never stops. Doesn't that sound good? I mean, it gets me really fired up. I get excited. And I still am learning, guys. I'm still trying to figure all this stuff out. And I want people to be okay that we're all still learning and we're all still growing. And that's why we do these classes. That's why we have every month, like last night, we had our detox class, and this lady was in there, and she said something. I'm not even sure if she was there to detox or not, because what her question to me was, is she had two little kids, and she goes, I've got them on the chewable Catalin, I've got them on the chewable Congoplex, I got them on the Coral, and I got them on Kid Cold. They just started, a daycare, and I want to make sure that they're healthy, and but they're kind of at a point where they're fighting me a little bit on the Coral, and they're fighting me a little bit on the Kid Cold, because Kid Cold's like elderberry and echinacea and ginger, and it's a little strong, you know what I mean? It'll pop you right in the throat, and these are kids, and she's trying to mix the Coral in water and Kid Cold in water, and the kids are fine with the chewable Congoplex and the chewable Catalin, which is over 200 phytonutrients and phytochemicals packed in a tablet, those Catalin and Congoplex. I mean, I give Congoplex to all my youth, my own kids plus anybody's kids that will listen, because Congoplex is loaded with calcium. Well, calcium is a key ingredient, and magnesium for development of young people that are evolving rapidly. Their bones are getting longer. Their organs are growing. Their mind is, turning on in ways that we can't appreciate. It's got ribonucleic acid in it, RNA, which is the transcription factors for neurological growth and repair and redevelopment and evolution, making the body stronger and healthier. It's got thymus support in there, which upregulates the immune response, so the body can clear trash out of the lines when it sees it, or it can attack a bug or a virus or something that's present in the body that, we, again, don't understand fully. And then it also has gut repair in it, and it helps those fat-soluble vitamin structures, vitamin A and C, to help nourish parts of the gut lining, immune defense. I mean, if those two products are the only two products that this woman gave her babies, she'd be doing more than 99% of anybody else is doing for intentionality in developing.
That was Catalin and Congoplex?
Yeah.
Those two?
And it's superior. It's amazing. And so, and she goes, can I cut some of these things out? And I looked at her and I said, girl, you can. I said, but you're already doing a good work. Why would you stop? And I said, you could take the Orange Ultima, because Jennifer told me that if you mix Orange Ultima, which is electrolyte and minerals, which you can't go wrong. You've heard me talk on other shows. Without adequate minerals, you can't detoxify. Without adequate minerals, you can't electrify and tonify your tissues to make them perform at an astronomically high potent level. And so I said, you can mix the Orange Ultima with Coral, and it tastes just like a dreamsicle. When Jennifer told me that, I said, whatever, give me some Orange Ultima and Coral. And guess what? It tastes like a dreamsicle. I mean, if anybody knows what a dreamsicle is and you haven't had a dreamsicle in years, I've just showed you a way to have that smell experience and the taste experience. You'll be so thrilled, and the beautiful thing is, Gardy, is it's nutritious. It's nourishing to every tissue, cell, organ in your body. You're giving the minerals, the electrolytes. You're giving the calcium, the magnesium for muscle repair, recovery, for brain development, for bone elongation, for anything that your body needs immunologically. It's present right there. Boom. It's so cool. I said you could just give them a little bit of that to maximize that for your babies. And then I said you could mix this Immumax product that we have. It's got it's a little sweet product for kids, and it's got echinacea and elderberry, and you can mix it with the Kid Cold, and you could bring all that together to give them just a little easier palate to digest, and that way but you still want to develop that bitter palate for your kids. I said, I mean, this whole seminar tonight for me was worth it because of this story that you're telling me, that you're investing in your babies. And although you feel like a lone ranger, although you feel like nobody else is willing to do this kind of work for their kids, I said, I can't encourage you enough. I said, because are your babies still growing? Is their brain still developing? Are they going to get longer? I said, what if their gene code said that they could be 6 foot, but because of malnutrition they make it to 5'8"? I said, what if I'm just giving you an example of height. What if it's brain development, their IQ? What if it's their comprehension skills, their math skills, their ability to compute numbers? I mean, all these things could be shortened, and we miss the mark of potentiality because we lack the nutrition. All lifeguarding starts where? At the cellular level. And nutrition is the fundamental backbone that drives us all towards greatness. Or, unfortunately, to the case of the suddenlies, where you never know what might happen. Maybe you got a gene code that you can eat pastries and donuts and chocolate and all this garbage, and you can make it to 60 for the most part okay. But what if you're 99.9% of the population that can't? And then the world has sold you that, a Snickers bar is okay, or a fast food joint's okay, or the soda pop's okay. Hey, man, no offense to those companies. No, seriously, marketing is marketing. There's always somebody competing for your attention and competing for your food dollar, and they spend goobles of money doing so. And I have 15 minutes. I have an hour show every week to help just program you to think a little different when it comes to health, wellness, and vitality. I want you to think differently about your body and say, Lord, you've given me this body. You've given me this earth suit. How can I maximize its potential to be a living sacrifice for you? How can I do more in this earth suit and make a difference and influence somebody 1 degree of change off the trajectory they were on towards a better trajectory? I'm not saying what trajectory you're on is bad, but maybe it's average. Maybe you're leaving some stuff on the table. Every coach will ever tell you, leave it all out on the field, right? If you're going to go perform, we're not going to show up just to play.
What are you saving it for?
Yeah. I mean, dude, go for the gusto. Make it happen. Put it out there. And it's okay, though, too, whenever when you feel like you have hit that wall and you need to take a little break and you just step off and rest a moment, catch your breath, get your footing, that's okay, too. I mean, rest is important, as long as you're not giving up all the foundational practices. You got to fuel right. You got to put the right food in. You got to put enough of the right food in. You've got to put enough fluid and hydration in. You see me every week. I always got my little canteen with me. Why? Because I'm drinking my fluids. It's not, there's definitely water in there if you want to see. And so the water.
There's water. You can hear it.
It's so good for my cells. It's so good for my detox pathways. It's so good for my lymphatics. It's so good for my brain. It keeps the body nourishing and cleansing itself and putting in fresh fluids in, because nature's solution to pollution is dilution. And we want to make sure that we put in fresh water in order to excrete out the bad. And people that say, I can't stand water, we got Ultima. People that say they don't like water, you can add herbal caffeine-free teas. If you don't like water, we can put it into a shake. We can find ways to get fluids into your body so that you are getting adequate water. Water is so vitally important. I love talking about water because of all the benefits that it has.
I got a question about water. What about water like Topo Chico? It's mineral, I guess, carbonated water?
Yeah, so the carbonated waters are fine. It's water. I tend to limit them because the carbonation can be, in today's society, be a little bit as an irritant to the stomach, and there's so much inflammation already in most people's bellies that little bit of irritation could potentially cause a problem. So we limit it down to a soda can a day of the Topo Chico mineral waters. I love Topo Chico. And you can mix some lime juice and bitters with that, and you can enhance its ability. What you got there?
It's my Topo Chico bottle opener.
Yeah.
It was a gift from Justin Gambino. He's a Christian music artist. Check him out. But he has
Is that his guitar pick?
This is a bottle opener. No, he doesn't. That's funny.
I'm just thinking, because why would a Christian artist be toting around a bottle opener?
Sponsored by Topo Chico. Like some of his events, they will deliver cases and pallets of Topo Chico.
See, and the cool thing is when you go to a restaurant, you can get a Topo Chico and you can put bitters with it. okay? And you just now maximized your digestion.
Yeah.
And now you prepared your body for digestion. So if you're at a cocktail party and they have a bar, odds are there's somebody's going to have the bartender will have bitters, and bitters are something that soothes your stomach. If you have a tummy ache or if you're a little bit nauseated, you can always ask for bitters and soda water. And one of my favorite parlor tricks for business guys that say, "Oh, I have to drink with the boys when I take out my people for the vendors," and they're like, "How do I do your program if I can't stop the alcohol?" And because really and truly, I mean, I'm convinced that alcohol it's not your friend. I mean, it is a poison. It's going to hurt you in the long run. And so what I have people do is I'll have them take bitters and soda water or sparkling water, and I'll mix those together. Tell them put a little drop of cherry in it, a little lime twist, and then you've got this sparkling drink that looks like a mixed drink at the table. And people go, "What are you drinking, Dr. Chapa?" "Oh, I'm bitters and soda water." And they go, "Sweet." And they salute, or cheers or whatever the thing is. And they're none the wiser, and nor do they care. I don't tell them, "Oh, it's a healthy drink." I say, "Oh, yeah, it's one of my favorite drinks. I drink it all the time. It looks just like scotch and water, and you fit in, and you can still make your $1 million sell and da-da-da-da-da, whatever. It'd fit right in the way you feel like you need to so that you don't make other people feel bad."
Or they're just justifying it.
Oh, no.
As the reason.
Trust you me.
Yeah.
I mean, people rationalize bad behavior all the time, but they don't want you to call them on it.
True.
Especially when you're trying to, make a deal happen.
And you give them you give them
So you give them as little information. You just say, "Oh, bitters and soda water, it's amazing stuff. You want to try it?" And they're like, "No, I'm good. I got my whatever." But they're happy to know that you're participating, in the little event. But little do they know that when the meal comes, your digestion's ready to digest that meal. You see, bitters is ginseng. And it's an herb that helps prepare digestive juices production so that when the food hits, you've got enzymes and acids prepared for that meal to break it down, digest it, and to release it in a way that is better absorbed for you.
That's awesome.
And that's a little cool trick. So I like sparkling waters. I just don't drink a ton of them all the time. I use them as a treat drink. So I like adding, like I said, a little pinch of cherry, a little of the Ultima, a little bit of lime to those things because they taste good. And there's other brands that have like already pre-flavored. You don't have to do anything to it. So there's all kinds of fun ways to leverage sparkling water, and it does. The minerals help offset stuff, but you were really not trying to get. You're probably not going to get mineral saturation through mineral waters, but is it better than no minerals in the water? Yes, of course. Minerals are electrically active. They drive the tissues to perform at a really high level.
I just do some lime juice. Like if I go somewhere, I'm like, "Can I get Topo Chico? Bring me some limes and some lime juice. Mix it together, and I'm good to go." So I have that at my house. Like probably when I get home today, I'll open one and I have like some limes and just squeeze a lot in there, and I enjoy it.
And truly, if nice. Don't feel bad if you're drinking more than carbonated water than maybe you should be. I don't know that it's a hard fast rule that you can't have more than one a day. I just find that with today's society, people's intestinal tracts are already a bit irritated from all the processed food they get into because there's always something. I was talking to a buddy the other day, and we were talking about streaking, and I'm not talking about the kind of all of you are thinking about. Stop it, y'all. I'm talking about a streak of time where you're living great. Right? You're doing the work long enough. You're setting a personal best record for days in a row. I know all of you guys are going, "Did he just say streaking? Dr. Chapa's streaking with supplements? This is weird. Organ meats and streaking?
With the Topo
what kind
Chico
of show is this?"
yeah.
And but no, every person, like most people, they'll make it Monday through Thursday, eating pretty good, and then they botch it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they don't realize that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are potentially affected from what they did Saturday and Sunday. Or, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday are botched from what they did Friday and Saturday. And so I think that people ought to, come back to grips with, okay, you need to set adult timeframes again. So you need to say, I'm going to go 36 meals of eating great before I have a cheat meal. And it's a meal, not a day, right? Or I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to go, 2 weeks in a row, 14 days, and see how my body performs. So like at our office, we have this cool toy. It's a measuring device. It's a medical grade measuring tool for body fat and for skeletal muscle mass, intracellular and extracellular water competency, how lean your protein mineral density is. And we can look at the way your body is performing with the foods you're eating or performing with the foods you're not eating. And we have seen that, people that are avid drinkers, they could lose a couple pounds but lose muscle because they're not maximizing the protein efficiency of absorption, and that muscle actually gets robbed, and their fat mass goes up, so they lost muscle, gained fat, and lost weight. So sometimes the scale is not always a good, healthy scale or standard to follow, metric to follow, whenever we have a tool that can run 3,000 different formulations into figuring out what your density levels are and making sure that your results are what you want. I want you gaining muscle. I want you losing fat. I had a lady, just by cutting her fats down, because she had excess fat, we cut her fats down 5 grams per meal throughout her days, and just got her eating 4 meals a day, and she lost 10 pounds. She was so excited. I said, well, let's go measure. Let's go see what that looks like. And when we put her on the InBody 570, and like I said, it's a medical grade measuring tool to find out some really neat metrics that help us see how, if your body's holding toxins or releasing toxins. And she lost 10 pounds of fat.
It was just all fat.
All fat.
That's awesome.
Her skeletal muscle actually stayed the same. So she didn't gain any, but her body burned 10 pounds of fat off, and she lost 10 pounds. And she looks better. She feels better. She was performing better on her job. Her brain was working. This lady's 76 years old, And, so there's no better time to start than right now. I don't care if you are 22, 52, 72. Whenever you get into the game, we're going to help you move and groove. We're going to help you eat well, stay well, live well by good, better choices. We're going to help you detoxify, and we'll do it slowly, or we'll do it fast, or we'll do it intense or non-intense. We'll find a way to help you make 1 degree of change, because we believe that you'll make that change. We believe you want to make that change. You just need to be educated on how to do it. And so at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we constantly are striving to help you live better, be better, and stay better through food, through encouragement, through the tribe of community. We believe wholeheartedly that you're worth it, and we will continually fight to get the best information into your hand. And we just pray and hope that you'll take this information, apply it to your life, to your kids' lives, to your family's lives, and to all those around you. Be an influencer. You are an influencer. You don't even realize it. And we just want to make sure that you're influencing people towards greatness and to a better version of themselves as you are aspiring to the same. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we want to be your #1 fan in making that happen. So subscribe to this podcast. Make sure that you're tuning in. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends, family, and loved ones. Write us a review on what you learn on these things on our programs, and help us. If there's content specific that you want to know about, email us at info@justlivewell.com and let us know what it is that you're interested in, and we'll start building programs around other health topics. I love sharing the information. I can come on the show and I can just talk for hours and hours and hours, and I don't ever run out of stuff to talk about, because I really believe, I love the body. I love what God created, and I love the fact that people are coming to grips with the truth that they can make a change in their life by the choices they make each and every day. So at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we just say, God bless you all, and to all, a good day.
It's KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Later today, you can search Just Live Well. Well, you can do it now, but this episode of the Living Well podcast with Dr. Chapa will be uploaded today, so you can share this with your friends, family. It's going to be available on all podcast platforms. KHEA 99.5 FM.